Welcome to your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Tuesday, June 23rd. Authorities remain mum on police reports that former CLICO Chairman Leroy Paris is being questioned in connection with an investigation. Pressed for an update this evening, police would only say that an update will be provided if there are any further developments. This year's Common Entrance examination will be administered at the island's 21 government secondary schools as per usual. Word of this from Acting Chief Education Officer Joy Adamson, who says requests were made to have students sit the exam at their own primary schools. She, however, explained that this would have created a logistical challenge and extensive human resources needed, including invigilators and police, are not available. Addison noted that the test will be supervised by secondary school teachers, students will be 6 feet apart, and police officers will be stationed at each center. It's time for schools to reopen. That's the view of UNICEF representative for the Eastern Caribbean. While speaking last evening in his remarks during UNICEF's Youth Activate talks, he stressed that as countries begin to ease lockdowns, they need to prioritize the reopening of their schools.
Prolonged school closures are likely to cause students to regress academically, especially as online learning is not accessible for all children, especially those children who are underprivileged. Decision on when to open schools must be made in the best interest of children. Countries must look at the impact on children through a public health, socio-economic, and protection lens. We know that the longer children stay out of school, the more exposed they are to dangers. This is especially true for children who are already vulnerable.
Lawmakers today raised their voices, calling for measures to be put in place to ensure greater equality among residents. Their appeal came during debate on a private member's business resolution, which touched on issues related to racism and the recent killing of African-American George Floyd by a white police officer, which prompted worldwide protests. Leading off debate, Christchurch South MP Ralph Thorne lauded the strong voice of protest led by the island's youth at home and abroad, insisting that the time has come for change.
Those young people in Bridgetown clad themselves in the flame of past injustice, and theirs has been a most noble search for justice, and I applaud them. I really do applaud them. And hopefully, the legacy of my generation left to future generations should be that we transform those places that memorialize and celebrate past injustice, that we should transfigure those places to beautiful vistas, to beautiful gardens in which our children and our children's children will live genuinely in peace and in harmony and with love one for the other as God ordained that his world should be ordered.
In his contribution, Opposition Leader Bishop Joseph Atherley suggested that enough was not being done in Barbados to address the issue of equality and other deficiencies at all levels of society.
And I would want to promote the concept of deserving. If I come from urban Barbados in Richmond or in Savannah Road, or well, that's not urban. But if I come from a rural district, Church Village in Seville, well, I come to Bayland. Urban populated centers where poverty is rife and community erosion is evident. If I come from those places, I am equally deserving of the person who lives in some heights or some terraces or some garden, or some park. The system now may not allow me equal opportunity, but I want to lay claim to being equally deserving. I will continue to knock on the doors until the system recognizes there is no meaningful equality of opportunity until it is recognized that each equally deserves. And therefore the system must adjust the circumstances that attend our lives as black people in Richmond and Bashaw and Church Village and Bayland, such that the notion of equal opportunity takes on more meaningful relevance.
Tributes continue to pour in for Nation photojournalist Christophe Griffith, who was brutally murdered yesterday along with contract worker Glenroy James at Bishop's Court, Bishop's Hill, St. Michael. On the floor of Parliament, St. Michael South Central MP Marsha Caddo, the MP for Griffith's community, expressed sympathy to both families. She said that Griffith would be missed.
I want to say that Christophe was one of these young people who is helping to, an example of one of these young people who's helping to lead the charge of revolution and transformation. Even in his quietness, he was fearless and had the kind of genteel but bold nature that we don't see much of nowadays. I want to offer condolences. I do offer condolences to his parents, to his siblings, to his entire family, to the community in Britons Hill, and all of South Central who miss him deeply, and we will continue to miss him deeply, to the journalism fraternity, to all of us, to Barbados.
Several other MPs also offered condolences to the two families. Condolences have also been paid by the Argentine Ambassador Gustavo Pandiani, regional media bodies, the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations, and the Alliance Owners of Public Transport.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now, Caribbean Airlines is reporting multi-million-dollar losses as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Joel Brown of TV6 News has the details in this report.
As a consequence, Caribbean Airlines' estimated operating loss for the period March 23rd to April 30th, 2020 is US $14.2 million or TT $96.1 million.
Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Alison West, as she responded to a question in the Senate posed by leader of opposition business Wade Mark as to the estimated financial losses state-owned Caribbean Airlines has suffered during the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister West said Caribbean Airlines began incurring losses at the beginning of March before the closure of Trinidad and Tobago's borders, since the demand for air travel had been significantly reduced globally.
The impact was further exacerbated following the closure of our borders at midnight on March 22, 2020. As a wholly owned state enterprise, Caribbean Airlines Limited has complied with government policy during the COVID-19 pandemic and maintained all of its staff on payroll.
This, as Fortune magazine has estimated major airline job losses globally to be around 70,000 as of June 11th. Minister West said that CAL, notwithstanding the fact that air travel is severely restricted at present, has been required to keep all of its aircraft leases up to date and its systems up to date and readiness for the resumption of international commercial flights.
On the international front, a strong earthquake shook southern Mexico today, killing at least 4 people, causing buildings to shake and prompting residents to flee homes and offices to seek safety on the streets. The earthquake's magnitude was 7.5, according to Mexico's National Seismological Service, and it was centered in the Pacific Ocean, about 14 miles off the coast. This afternoon, the Mexican president said there had been 147 aftershocks to the larger earthquake, and officials warned that more were expected. That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.